We're in better shape today to make a run at it than when we were sitting here this time last year.
My daily focus is what affects winning, and that's really where I put my energy.
I'm just focused on whatever it takes.
The Dallas Cowboys had a resurgent season in 2021, making the playoffs for the first time since the 2018 campaign. But once they got there, an ill-fated slide saw the clock go to zeros, going one and done in the postseason. In the offseason, they saw a handful of productive players walk out the door via free agency and trades, as they were up against the salary cap. The receiving core will look quite different this season, with Amari Cooper being dealt to Cleveland and Cedric Wilson Jr. signing with the Dolphins, which should set CeeDee Lamb up for a monster season, provided he stays healthy. On the other side of the ball, the Cowboys thought they had a deal with pass rusher Randy Gregory to return, until they didn't. Gregory had a late change of heart and signed with the Broncos instead, which could shift second-year star Micah Parsons into more pass-rushing situations, a role he thrived in last season. In the draft, the Cowboys selected versatile offensive lineman Tyler Smith in round 1, which they're hoping offsets the loss of Leo Collins in free agency. But if the Cowboys are going to take the next step, they'll need Dak Prescott to build up a career-best statistical season and be at his best when it matters most.
Going each offseason, trying to be a better player and person than I was the year before. And so at this stage, at this point, I definitely feel like I've accomplished that. My confidence is through the roof.
Prescott won't be the only one with a spotlight on him this upcoming season. Even though head coach Mike McCarthy took them to the playoffs in year 2, rumors still persist about his long-term job stability.
And it's a huge challenge to be a head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. It's a huge challenge to be a Dallas Cowboy, and we're here to win a championship.
The Cowboys will look to become the first team in 18 seasons to win the NFC East in back-to-back years. But even that likely won't satisfy Jerry Jones if they don't win in the playoffs, with America's team over a quarter century removed from lifting their last Lombardi.
I have choices. That's not meant to be insensitive to anybody. That's a fact.
Is this the year everything comes together in Big D? If not, there will surely be changes in the offseason.
Training camps are in full swing across the country. In Oxnard, California, the Dallas Cowboys putting in the work to stay atop the NFC East. No one's won back-to-back division titles in the NFC East since 2004. The pressure is on for Mike McCarthy and this team to be on top. Our CBS lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones joins us now from Oxnard and Cowboys training camp. JJ, this is your third camp. You're seeing 19 teams across 18 locations. Games still don't start for another week, but hey, you're hitting the ground running. What's it like on the road so far?
I'm loving being on the road, a bit of a road warrior, Sherry. It's been a lot of fun so far. I love getting back out there. You know, you talk to so many of these players and coaches, and we all lived through 2020 and the COVID year where we weren't able to get out on the road. And then 2021, it was a little different, right? And the protocols were what they were. Now we're back to football. There were more than 4,000 fans out here at practice today. It's sort of their opening ceremony, a back together Saturday here in the NFL. They're trying to make that happen, and it does appear that it is happening around the league. But actually, the fire marshals had to turn folks away at the front gate because they just said, hey, we got too many people out here. So I made mention to Greg, our great photographer and camera guy out here, that, you know, it just feels like football, right? You got a nice little chill in the air out here in California. It's nice. It kind of feels like fall weather. I just want to smell like a candied apple or some popcorn, like a fairgrounds nearby is what that would make this complete.
You're speaking my language. I kind of got goosebumps there when you talk about it. All those fans, me, myself, I can't wait to sit down on a Sunday and watch some games. But JJ, you were there at practice today watching the Cowboys. Tell us what stood out most to you about what you saw from quarterback Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy, the quarterback is supposed to be the field general. He is supposed to be the guy who leads this football team. There is without question that the guy in the red jersey who wears number 4 is the leader of this football team. There is a way that he carries himself. There is a response from his teammates. There is obviously the crowd around. Everybody who has a pulse out here knows that Dak Prescott is the leader, and that's how he commands the huddle. You looked out here, and they did some red zone drills. And the defense, I talked with CeeDee Lamb earlier today. He said, hey, the defense got our number the first couple days out here. The offense won today, according to CeeDee Lamb and according to my eyes. When you look at the first team offense, there was a red zone drill, a 2-minute drill where there was 49 seconds on the clock. The Cowboys first team offense got the ball at the 25-yard line, 1 timeout, and they scored a touchdown, a nice throw from Dak to James Washington when he got a little bit behind Trayvon Diggs. It wasn't sure if the corner of the safety had him. They got that touchdown with about 20 seconds to spare on the clock, marched down the field. So the offense is humming right now. And I spoke with Mike McCarthy about that earlier today, and he said, listen, we really felt like we were hitting our stride last year. And we saw it. Of course, they had that disappointing end to the season. This Cowboys team on paper and what I saw out here in real time, this is absolutely going to be a playoff contender.
Well, I want to ask you about that, how they bounce back. There's the saying in sports, right? It's cliche, but you have to have a short memory. And to think about the last time the Cowboys were out there on the field, the way they ended their season last year, that wild card game, the clock ticking down, and I think the best way to describe it, you're seeing it here, just chaos ensues. Poor clock management that had to have left a sour taste and sort of a sore subject.
Absolutely. And, in the immediate aftermath of that game, they all said, hey, that was the right play call. And then in the day after the game, they said, yeah, that was still the right play call. It was not the right play call. And I think after some time and some wounds have healed, that I would be very, very surprised if the Dallas Cowboys at any point in the next year under Mike McCarthy try to run a spike play with about 6 seconds and ticking on the clock. I do think that they learned that lesson. But interestingly enough, Sherry, the mental conditioning coach of the Dallas Cowboys, he put together sort of a few clips of Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott talking to the press after that game. And he showed it to all of the guys here at camp earlier this week. And he just wanted to remind them that, hey, a negative can be used as positive fuel moving forward. I asked Mike McCarthy about that. I said, hey, have you closed the book on that? Or is this something that you want to learn and grow from? And, sometimes we see these coaches. I remember one coach several years ago who literally buried the previous season. And that coach didn't stay the coach for much longer after that. Well, Mike McCarthy said, hey, you want to be able to learn and lean on your past experiences. Of course, you don't want to dwell on that final play, that game. But you do want to be able to understand and learn and grow from those experiences. So I think what the Cowboys are doing, taking that negative and saying, hey, this happened. Let's learn and grow from it. Let's turn that negative into a positive will ultimately pay dividends for them in 2022.
Yeah, a lot of lessons to be learned there. And you mentioned it. There's a lot of focus on the attention. They were humming today at practice. But let's talk on the other side of the ball. The bright spot, second-year linebacker Micah Parsons. From what you saw there in person, how does he look like he's building off his outstanding rookie performance?
Yeah, you call him a linebacker, and Sherry, I guess technically he is. He's out here wearing number 11. He's lining up at the line of scrimmage, rushing the passer. He's playing off the ball. Sometimes it looks like he's in a bit of a star situation where he's not necessarily going to be a defensive back, but he's all over the field. I asked Mike McCarthy earlier today about, hey, are you going to use him in all these various positions? What essentially is the plan for Micah Parsons? I think that not only Dallas Cowboys fans, 31 other teams would love to know what the plan for Micah Parsons is this season. I don't think that he's going to be used any differently necessarily, whether it's going to be as an edge rusher or an off-ball linebacker, but instead, Mike McCarthy said it's going to be about the volume with which we use him in either one of those positions. And so obviously they're not going to reveal their cards just yet. Is Micah Parsons going to be that edge rusher all the time, or is he going to be more of that sort of traditional outside linebacker? We'll have to wait and see. I'm not anticipating that we're going to see a lot of Micah in the first 2 preseason games. The Dallas Cowboys have joint practices with both the Broncos and the Chargers in weeks 1 and 2 of the preseason. So look for the starters to get all their work in during those joint practices. Let's take it easy on the guys once they get into the actual exhibitions, and then we might see that ramp up there in the final week of Seattle before we get into week 1.
All right, time now for the Geico 15-second statement. JJ, what is your bold prediction for the Dallas Cowboys this year?
You want bold? I'll give you bold. The Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. No, I'm not going to go that bold. I'm going to tell you that tight end Dalton Schultz, who signed his franchise tag, didn't love it, but signed it. He's going to lead this team in receiving touchdowns for the first month of the season. Remember, you got Michael Gallup out, no Amari Cooper, no Cedric Wilson. Now you have a lot of attention being paid to CeeDee Lamb. Look at Dalton Schultz to get all the tutties here in September.
We like it. All right, our Jonathan Jones there. He'll bring us live reports as we get closer to football season. Great work, my friend. All right, let's take a look at how the odds makers think the Cowboys will do this season. The total there over under 10.5 wins. Vegas expects them to make the playoffs. They're the favorites to win their division. Then you get some pretty good value for Dallas to win the conference and win the Super Bowl.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.